in the Uasin Gishu County. Moving on forward, we want to have a conversation right here in studio with Rosalind Idele. She is a senior program manager at the National Democratic Institute. We're talking about the place of women with all this, with the elections, this being an electioneering period, what strategies are being put in place to ensure the safety of women who normally in other elections before are normally caught up in some bit of the ugly side of the politics and the elections. Thank you very much, Rosalind, for joining us here in studio.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's talk about this. There's a hotline that's supposed to be launched tomorrow. Maybe we could start from there.
Yes. Healthcare Assistance Kenya, HAC, is launching a hotline, 1195. And the hotline is supposed to be attend to be utilized by the public and survivors of violence against women in elections. And the idea behind it is, I think, even in the run-up to the primaries, we noticed the reports of very many women who are running for office being subjected to violence. And the unique thing about this, the violence that these women are subjected to, is that it's unlike in the case of men, where if they do experience violence, it's not as a result of their gender or their status or what they represent. But in the case of women, it's strictly because of their gender. It's the message that is being sent out is that as women, you are free to participate in elections as voters, election officials, supporters of men, but you have no business seeking political power. And so this line has been set up. They will also, alongside the assistance that will be provided to the victims who reach out, it will also be utilized by communities who will also be sensitized on the assistance that they can offer and what role they can play in ensuring that we minimize cases of violence against women in elections.
All right, talking about violence, Rosalind, it is the hope of many that we don't have to deal with the issues that you're talking about. Of course, violence against men, women, children, anybody, in the country. So are we saying that we are anticipating that this is going to happen, or is it like a stopgap measure just in case?
Well, it has already happened. It is happening. We have been compiling reports. We've been receiving reports. We know of a woman candidate whose driver was killed, another one whose house was burnt down.
Yes.
Others were threatened with rape. They've had their vehicles smashed. So it has already happened. And much as silently, it has been happening. And much as, for instance, the Election Observation Group released a report, an observation report in the month of March, which showed that incidences of violence were not particularly high, but those against women were higher than against the other candidates. Then in April, the incidences were actually, the cases, there was an increase in the number of cases, which shows that even in cases where we might not have an overall breakout of violence, in the case of women candidates, it's always there. It's a constant threat. They're subjected to it. Most of the time, it goes unreported. And unfortunately, most of the time, it also goes unaddressed because nobody is following up to deal with it. So, yeah.
Interesting. And this hotline, is it just for the women, the female candidates, or is it for literally anybody who would encounter some sort of violence?
I think the idea behind it is for everybody, so that the women, once they've been subjected to it, they can call so that they're able to receive some rapid response assistance. If you witness a woman being subjected to this, you call. If you witness her supporters being subjected to this, you call. And that way, we work collectively as a community to make sure that we deal with this.
All right.
Yes.
Interesting. So this 11, you said it's 11?
1195.
1195.
Yes.
Are you working together with the police? Because I would imagine if I'm supposed to report something, there has to be like an end to it. So what's that end?
They're not just working together with the police, they're also working with the Office of the AG, they're working with the Director of Prosecution, they're working with other organizations that are also conducting similar initiatives. For instance, we have Uwiano, they have the 108 line, and all this is supposed to also help us look into issues of early identification, early mitigation, early response systems, so that we are able to deal with it before it happens, avoid, and where it has already happened, put in place measures to address it.
All right.
Yes.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Rosalind, for your insights on this. We wait for it to be launched. Is it tomorrow, you said?
Yes, tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. Rosalind Idele, she's a senior programs manager